Here are 3 more signs that you may have autism. Keep in mind that diagnosis is important because it's a term that better explains the majority of the behaviors that you exhibit. So that way you can stop blaming yourself for the things that you do and understand that you have an actual medical condition. Number 1, you struggle with mood swings and you've had issues with impulse control for as long as you can remember. The mood swings and emotional dysregulation that I see within autism often stems from anxiety. The highest form of anxiety is agitation. This is why autistic individuals, and especially kids, will be mislabeled as troublemakers. They'll be told that they're stubborn. They'll be suspended. And a lot of times when you see that they're angry and aggressive, it's not because they're bad people or they want to fight, but it's more so of a communication issue. Autism means that the way that you communicate with the world is different from how a neurotypical person would communicate with the world. So when there are these differences in communication, you have to account for that by having some type of external help. Without that help, it becomes very frustrating to communicate with people and convey what you want to say. I compare this to somebody who has duct tape over their mouth for 24 hours. During that 24 hours, you're going to get frustrated because you can't express yourself. So the anxiety that comes from not being able to express yourself effectively is what often leads to the mood swings and the impulsivity and the frustration that you see in autism spectrum disorder. Number 2, you experience burnout over and over. And this type of burnout is what many people refer to as neurodivergent burnout. People don't realize that the solution to burnout is not a trip to Hawaii or taking a vacation or a break. The solution to burnout is actually implementing a new way to live. You need a new system. And the reason why so many autistic individuals and so many neurodivergent folks find themselves in this type of burnout is because you don't have a system and a sustainable way to live. This means that you're taking care of your responsibilities. You're doing what you have to do. You're going through your day-to-day life, taking care of your affairs, but it's costing you more energy than the average person. So even though it doesn't look like it, the reason why you're burning out is because you're masking and you're trying to live within this neurotypical standard. And when you're neurodivergent and you don't have some level of external support, life can be very difficult and you'll often find yourself in this cycle of being burnt out and then feeling okay for a little bit and then going back to that stage where you're burnt out and you need so much time to yourself just to recharge. And lastly, number 3, if you've had insomnia for a long time, for as long as you can remember, there's a chance that you may want to get screened for autism. So my mentor, who's a psychiatrist who's been doing this for over 40 years, told me that 90 to 95% of the autistic patients that he's seen throughout his career have some sort of difficulty sleeping at night. And I mentioned here before that many neurodivergent individuals have something called delayed sleep phase disorder, which is where your bedtime is about 90 minutes to 2 hours later than the average neurotypical person. So you just tend to stay up a little bit later and you prefer to wake up a little bit later. And this is why neurodivergent individuals do a lot better with jobs where they have autonomy and they can show up to work at a time that suits them. So these are things to look out for if you think that you may have autism. Also keep in mind that I'll be dropping a course soon called Understanding Autism, which will help you understand yourself much better. And for people in certain states, I'll post some information here about how you can get diagnosed and screened for ADHD and or autism by me. We're working on getting our team together and getting all of our affairs in order. So until then, keep going. I love y'all.